big return leg in round 2 of Champions League qualifying between Red Star and Kairat from Kazakhstan. Just a reminder, the first match went in favor of Kairat 2-1. Red Star didn't look like themselves at all. They actually haven't looked like themselves this entire season. Second half was a little bit better than the first half, but the team just didn't really click the entire match. The one goal that they got was an own goal off a mistake from Kairat. Before I get into like the lineups and stuff, the goalkeeper and Banyak, who played for Kairat, will not be playing, as well as their captain, who set up the first goal, I believe it was. He's out due to an injury. The goalkeeper and Banyak have contracted coronavirus. Kante, actually one of their better players, probably their best player last match, wasn't supposed to play, but I believe he tested negative, so he has arrived in Belgrade, and it seems like he will play. And then there's also questions around Kosovic, who came off in the 12th minute, I believe, with what looked like a hamstring injury. He did fly to Belgrade, so I think he will go. Red Star side, Gajic is pretty much the only player there's a little bit of a question mark for the game. So the lineup, for me, in my opinion, kind of revolves around if Gajic is going to play or not. If he does play, I think it's just going to be a 4-2-3-1. If Gajic doesn't play, I think it's going to be more of a 3-4-2-1. I don't think Stankovic wants to play Bakayoko as a right back in such a big match, I guess, if you want to say. I think he wants to ease him in a little bit throughout the season, and then kind of play him at that position again if he has to later on down the road. But I think he wants him to play a little bit more in more meaningful games, and he did play a bunch of preseason matches at that position, but it's just a lot different than it is when you get into the heat of like the big matches. So if Red Star does go with a back three, it's probably going to be Dragovic, Pankov, and probably Babic. I think all of us would like to see Degenek, but I don't think that's going to happen. So like I said, if Gajic can go 4-2-3-1, if he can't, I think it's going to be more of a 3-4-2-1. The man marking on set pieces needs to be a lot better than it was in the first match for Red Star. The first goal was straight off a set piece, and the second goal was off a corner kick, and then it was kind of like a broken play where Kairat ended up getting the ball back and just kind of swinging it in, and Banyak found himself one-on-one with Borjan and just slaughtered the ball to Borjan's left side, I believe it was. And, they got the lead 2-1, and Red Star didn't generate much throughout the entire match. The second half was a little bit better, but they just didn't generate enough chances to even score. And like I said, fortunate enough to get the own goal off Kairat. One thing I'll say is Katai and Ivanic need to get going. They've been pretty much off this entire season. I know it's only been, three matches. I would say Ivanic has been a little bit better. He scored on Sunday against Mladost Lučani, which Red Star ended up winning 1-0. But Katai, again, was a little bit up and down, maybe just still getting his feet a little bit under him. Ben's been in poor form to kind of start the season, so I wouldn't be surprised if Falco starts this match, and you can kind of bring on Ben later on. Again, I should point out it's 2-1, but there's no more away goals, so Red Star to advance would need to score 2, so a 2-0 win would get them to go through. A 1-0 win for Red Star will obviously go to extra time, and then ultimately penalties if need be. Kante was, like I said earlier when I started this video, I thought he was Kairat's best player. The movement, his ability with the ball, the goal, his hold-up play, pretty quick player. So a lot of stuff offensively depended on him. I thought Sonogo neutralized Wagner Love, but there was moments where Wagner Love looked like he was 25, 26 again, making runs down the pitch, and some of the defenders really having trouble stopping him. So he's definitely a guy to watch. Like I said, he scored against Maccabi Haifa in their first round match. So it is something to watch. like I said, he's the CSK Moscow legend, played in Russia for a long time, and kind of carved out a really good career there. And then he went back to Brazil, and now is in Kazakhstan. And like I said, the first half was dreadful for Red Star. I don't think the match as a whole, I don't think could have gone much worse. And the first half was probably the worst half I've seen Red Star play in 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. It was just very bad. The passing was off. I felt like Kairat really did an excellent job of just closing everything down. Minimal passes to Katai and Ivanic, which kind of forced Ben to maybe to make plays, which maybe he's not so comfortable doing anymore with Katai and Ivanic demanding the ball so much. And Pavkov up top, obviously no service if Katai and Ivanic couldn't get the ball. Diony, I believe, will start this match. I think Red Star has to kind of get him into the season as fast as they can. Diony is only here on loan until the end of the season, but he's brought in as a big loanee, so to say, as a guy who can score goals in matches exactly like this. So the team's going to need a little bit more from him going forward. And obviously, if he doesn't get the necessary balls whipped into him that he needs, then he's not going to have any luck scoring, which is why having Katai and Ivanic function at a high level is a must. And like I said, Katai's been off this season. I said Falco in for Ben. I think that will happen. Falco was pretty good against Mladost Lučani. He didn't do, I wouldn't say he did anything to solidify himself into that starting lineup, but I think that he's been a little bit better than Ben this season, so I fully expect him to start. Kristicic, I don't think will start this match. I think it's going to be Sanogo and Kanga as the defensive pairing if they do go with a 4-2-3-1. I think that's going to be the central defensive midfield pairing. Kanga's really good at distributing the ball. One thing that I did notice against Mladost Lučani again, and this has been happening, oddly enough, I don't think I've ever seen this happen to any other team in the world apart from Red Star. There's points where the team kind of gets into this like a nervous hole where they can't really score, and it feels like guys are literally taking the ball off each other, and it happens to Kanga a lot. Like, I feel like Kanga just goes up to, if it's Katai or Ivanic, and just kind of steals the ball from them and tries to create something, which oddly enough happened the first time Kanga was here as well, which is, I think, when Katai was in his first stint with Red Star. Kind of the same thing happened. So I think the longer that this game goes on, if it's scoreless, I think it's much better for Kairat. Red Star need to score early in this match. There are no fans due to a suspension, so it's going to be played behind closed doors, but I believe there will be kids under the age of like 13 or 14 at the stadium, which is something that they do now. So it's not going to be exactly 30, 40,000 fans, but at least there's some support there. I feel confident going into this match that Red Star will go through, but I would feel even better if it was a packed house or however many they're letting in, 35, 40,000. But playing at home, the way I look at this, if this was last season, Red Star would have been out because you only played one leg until I believe it was the playoff, and that's how Red Star got bounced against Omonia, I believe it was, the Cypriot representatives. They lost on PKs, and they got bounced, and they went to Europa League, and obviously they got through the group stage and everything. But main focus for this match is obviously just don't give away set pieces. Red Star hasn't scored from a set piece this season, which is something they were very good at last season, something that the team's going to need to work on. Also, stats show that Dragovic and Pankov were actually the guys who tried to create the most last match going forward, and Rodic was the third guy on that list. So Ivanic, Katai nowhere to be found on that list, which shows you that that Kairat clearly cut them off from the rest of the team and said, you know what, if Pankov and Dragovic, their center backs, are going to create something, then we're going to live with that. That can't happen this match. It has to go through Katai, Kanga, Ivanic, and I would say even Falco at some point. And then obviously the bench, you're going to have guys like Ben, Pavkov, Krstovic, Veljko Nikolic. So the bench is good. If need be, there's guys who can close out games like Kristicic, so I'm not worried about that. Again, if Gaich can't go, we're going to ask once again, why wasn't the position of left back and right back, backups at least, why wasn't it addressed this offseason? It's been an issue for 3 or 4 seasons now. And being an Arsenal supporter, I feel like the same thing's going on with Arsenal, although they have done a better job of addressing those positions of need this summer. But Red Star need to do a better job. You have guys like Gobelic, but he looks like he's on his way out. So yeah, going into this match, I feel confident, and I think that Red Star will go through.